The movie starts at a hospital where a few doctors struggle to make a newborn child survive. After several efforts, they put the girl in an incubator. A young woman named Diane, the mother of the sick baby, comes by to check on her child in the incubator. In tears, she touches the incubator and asks the doctors if her child will survive. The screen then displays the definitions of the illnesses the little kid has, which are arrhythmia, hemochromatosis, asthma, diabetes, and paralysis. 17 years later in Washington, a young girl, Chloe, is being raised by her mother, Diane. Although she shows signs of being a very intelligent student, she is weak and can't go out at all. She has a dream of attending a university, a dream which her mother has no intention of fulfilling. Several mothers come for the Homeschool Association meeting, a meeting for mothers who school their kids at home. One of the mothers is in tears because her daughter is attending college. As she tells her story, all the other parents weep for her, but Diane keeps pressing her phone. Diane is asked how she feels about her daughter Chloe going to college. She says her daughter is the strongest and bravest person she knows, and she is sure she will do great, although they haven't gotten a college admission for Chloe. At home, Chloe uses a wheelchair and a stair lift due to the circumstances of her birth. She uses an inhaler for her asthma and regularly takes medication given by her mother. She's also being homeschooled by her mother. Eager to attend college, Chloe applies with passion and waits for admission. Anytime the mail gets delivered, she attempts to collect the mail, but her mother insists on getting the mail, promising her she will tell her when she gets admission. One day she hears a horn in front of the house, but while she anticipates that it is the mail delivery, she sees it's her mother who has just returned from the market. Diane drops the box and receives a call from a doctor, Dr. Kasabian. When she leaves to pick up her call, Chloe sneaks to the box to steal some chocolates. When Chloe is about to leave the box, her attention gets drawn to a green drug with Diane's name on it. She does not know her mother is sick, and she is curious to know what is happening with Diane, but she keeps quiet. At night, Diane comes to administer Chloe's drug. She tells her the doctor said the company that produces the former pills has closed up, and the doctor has recommended another pill for her. It is the green pill Chloe found earlier. She confronts Diane that the green pills are for her, as she sees her name on the recommendation. Diane lies that the receipt was on the can and not the recommendation. Trusting her mother, Chloe uses the drug and goes to sleep. The following day, she gets curious when her mother is away, and she struggles to pick up the medicine from the cabinet. She sees that the name on the medicine is trigoxin, but this time, she's amazed to see her name on the original label she saw yesterday. When she strips away the new label layer, she confirms that Diane's name is actually on the medicine. Again, she hears the noise of the mail delivery car, but before she gets the mail, Diane interrupts her and takes the mail instead. At night, Diane comes to administer the same drug to Chloe. This time around, Chloe doesn't swallow the drug, and she spits it out after her mother leaves. Later that night, she uses the computer to browse the name of the drug, but she can't because there's no internet connection on the computer. Wanting to know more about the drug, she tries to call Pasco Pharmacy on the landline. However, she stops herself when she recalls that the pharmacy is Diane's office pharmacy, and she would get busted if she calls them. She decides to call random numbers on the directory. She persuades the stranger to help her check the use of the drug, and when the stranger agrees, he finds out it is a drug used for several heart conditions, but the drug is in red caps. Chloe is shocked because the pills she had been taking were in green caps. Wanting to confirm what is happening, she asks her mother to take her to the cinema. At the cinema, she asks to use the ladies' room, then rides to the nearest pharmacy where she meets Mrs. Bates. She asks Mrs. Bates to please help her check the name of the drug, but since the drugs are under her mother's prescription, Mrs. Bates refuses to help her. Thinking of how to convince Mrs. Bates, she sees a picture that shows Mrs. Bates love games. She lies to Mrs. Bates that she and Diane are playing a game, and for her to win, she needs to get the name of the drug. Mrs. Bates falls for the trap and tells her the drug is lidocaine, a drug meant for dogs. Shakily, Chloe asks what would happen if humans take the drug, and she is told the person's leg would go numb. She's shocked, but before she can process her thoughts, Diane arrives and sedates Chloe. On the other hand, Diane is disturbed that she will get caught by Chloe and lose her daughter. She leaves the house to get another drug she is looking for, and she locks Chloe inside her room so she won't sneak out. Waking up from a long sleep, Chloe calls out for her mom and realizes she has the home to herself since Diane isn't around. She tries to get out but figures she has been locked in the room. Trying to get out, she takes a soldering iron and puts water in her mouth. She crawls through her window to the next window and uses the combination of the soldering iron and water to break the window. She uses her blanket to protect herself from the broken window and enters the room. Unfortunately, she gets an asthma attack. She crawls into her room to take her inhaler and survives. She climbs her wheelchair to go downstairs, but when she tries to use the automated wheeled stairs to go down, she realizes her mother has disconnected the stairs. Left with no choice, she throws her wheelchair down the stairs and crawls. She sustains an injury as she lands and shockingly discovers she can now move one of her toes. She realizes it's because she hasn't been using the drug for a while and realizes Diane means evil to her. She rides to the road to get away from Diane. On the road, she sees the mail truck and she calls the driver Tom. She explains that she wants to visit the police station, but before they leave, Diane sees them. Diane refuses to let Tom take her away. She threatens to call the police so Tom can leave Chloe, but there is no network signal. Reluctantly, she decides that they should go to the police station together. Just as Tom turns to drive, Diane injects him with sedatives. She also injects Chloe, and they both collapse. Chloe wakes up later in the basement of their house. She searches the basement and she sees a university acceptance letter. She realizes that she has been admitted, and Diane hid it from her. She scatters the letters on the floor and sees another box. Upon opening the box, she sees her childhood pictures with her legs intact. She also sees a death certificate of a baby named Chloe, who died 2 hours after she was born. While searching around, she also sees a newspaper coverage announcing the kidnapping of a child in the same hospital where Chloe died. It turns out Diane's child died, and Diane kidnapped a baby from the same hospital and ran away with her. Chloe hears Diane's footsteps and gets scared. When Diane enters, Chloe accuses Diane of stealing her and purposely making her sick. But Diane insists Chloe doesn't need her real parents, and Diane is enough for her. She reminds Chloe that she has never treated her like she isn't her mother, and Chloe should forget the experience so they can start over again. Diane goes out of the room and brings a paint thinner. She starts filling the syringe with the paint thinner to clear Chloe's memory. Chloe begs Diane to stop and runs to lock herself in a closet. Diane bangs on the closet door asking Chloe to open the door, but Chloe knows Diane will get access to the closet, and she also realizes Diane won't let her die. So immediately Diane opens the closet. Chloe tells Diane she knows she needs her, then opens the contents of a bottle of oregano phosphate and swallows it, forcing Diane to rush her to the hospital. Chloe wakes up in a hospital bed with tubes inserted in her mouth. Diane asks that her daughter should be released to her, but the doctor insists that Chloe would not be released since she was a suicide patient, and they needed her to be evacuated by a mental health professional. Chloe asks the nurse for a crayon. She uses it to write the word mom, but before the nurse can check it, the nurse is called by a code blue. As the nurse rushes out, Diane comes in, removes the tubes from Chloe's mouth, ties her to a wheelchair, and escapes with her. When the nurse returns, she finds Chloe's bed empty and sees the note, Mom. The nurse calls security to find Chloe. Diane panics when she realizes the security is after her. She brings out a gun and attempts to take Chloe through the stairs. Chloe sees the poster of her chosen university's College of Medicine and realizes how much of her dream Diane had cost her. She forces herself to move her foot and holds the chair to a place Diane would not be able to move her. Chloe tells Diane she doesn't need her. As Diane tries to convince Chloe to follow her, the security arrives and shoots Diane. 7 years later, Chloe, although still in a wheelchair, visits an infirmary ward where Diane was. She informs Diane that Annie is walking and spending Christmas with her real grandparents. She tells Diane about her job and her husband too. Chloe expresses her love for her mother. However, she removes 3 pills of wrapped lidocaine that she had kept in her mouth, intending to feed it to her mom as the movie ends. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Leave a like to help the channel out. Also leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching.